Hello students, welcome to Trunkie Academy, and today since we are studying about the reproduction in reproductive system and reproduction in organisms, okay, and we study about the different types of reproduction, that is asexual and sexual reproductions, okay, and under that we studied about the different modes by all the different lower organisms they reproduce through. That is the binary fission, multiple fission, fragmentation, regeneration, spore formation, etc. Okay, and the vegetative propagation. Then we started with the sexual reproduction, and I also explained about the male reproductive system yesterday. Okay, now today we will study about the female reproductive system. This is the topic, and we will start. And you know that in case of sexual reproductions, there is a mixing of gamete, and there is a formation of zygote, fertilization, formation of zygote, and then there is a development of the embryo. Okay. So in case of female reproductive system, you know that like we have observed in case of male reproductive system, there are some important organs that play very important role in the reproduction. Okay. Similarly, in the female also there are important organ and parts, okay, that has some important role for reproduction. Okay, so the important parts are, or the components in the female reproductive system are, the number one is the pair of ovaries. In case of male, it was the pair of testes. Okay, but in females it is pair of ovaries. So a pair of ovaries. Then number two, a pair of fallopian tubes or oviduct. A pair of fallopian tube or oviduct. Number three, a uterus. Womb. Number four, vagina, or it's also called birth canal. Okay, so these are the parts, or you can say important parts, or the components of the female reproductive system. Okay, like we have already observed in case of the male reproductive system, and we were studying about the male reproductive system yesterday. Okay, so here in case of female reproduction, a pair of ovaries in the abdomen, okay, and a pair of fallopian tube or oviduct, okay, and we'll see in the diagram, and a uterus or womb, it's also a womb where the development of the fetus takes place, and the vagina where the it's also called birth canal. Okay, so what are the role and what are the different structures and how these are playing an important role, okay, in the, now we'll see the diagram that you can see. This is the diagram depicting the female reproductive system. You can see the fallopian tube, okay, it's also called oviduct. Okay, so this is the portion, you can see this is called the oviduct. Okay, and this is the ovary, the yellow is this part, okay, ovary, and uterus is here, okay, where the development of fetus takes place in the uterus. Yeah, and this is a vagina where during the coitus or sexual intercourse, penis is inserted in the vagina and its semens containing the sperms are released into the body of the female. Okay, endometrium, you can see endometrium, the layer, the tissue layer in the uterus. Okay, myometrium, and then is the uterine cavity. So myometrium and endometrium, okay, these are the tissue layers in the uterus. Okay, so endometrium is the layers, okay, from inside. It is the first layer from inside, and that deteriorates during the menstrual cycle, and that flows through the menstrual fluid. Now in this diagram, in another diagram here, you can see that the ovary. Now this is the another section. This has been shown like from flat in the ventral side, and this has been like bilaterally if we cut. Okay, so this will be this is absorbed. We cut a longitudinal section. That is also longitudinal, but from the front, and this is the sideways view. Sideways view. So fallopian tube, okay, and the ovary is shown. And in the fallopian tube, the last ending near the ovary, you can see the frimby, okay. And then there is a urinary bladder which is there for the collection of urine that has been filtered and formed in the kidney, okay, pubic bone, and the clitoris. Clitoris is some node-like cyst-like structure is present inside the females near the just above of the vagina, and play an important role in the sexual excitation. Labium majora and labium minora are the present fold-like structure present above the vagina. Okay, cervix is just after. This part is the cervix. You can see this one. Okay, this one the cervix is written here. This one the cervix. So just above the vagina is the cervix, and then is the uterus. Okay. So what we observe that then there is the a pair of ovaries, okay, left and right, a pair of fallopian tube, left and right again is also called oviduct, and the uterus and the vagina or birth canal. Okay. Now we will study about each ovary is almond shaped. So this is the shape. Each ovary is almond shaped. Okay, and present inside the abdominal cavity. Present inside the abdominal cavity. Present inside the abdominal cavity. Okay. At the time of the birth, each girl child already contains thousands of immature ova. Okay, but that is not differentiated. Okay, immature, but that is immature. When they attain the age of puberty, then that starts differentiating, and the mature ovum is formed, and the ovulation is when the menstrual cycle begins. When the menstrual cycle begins after puberty, then only then the release of ovum or egg cell, that is called ovulation. Okay, so at the time of the birth only, okay, at the time of birth only, the immature. This is an important point for the exam. Okay, some students they get confused in the multiple choice question which is asked. What they think is that this may be wrong. The option is written as the ovum, immature ovum is present right from the birth. Okay, so they think that is the wrong option. Okay, no. Immature ovum or ova is present right from the age till the time they are born. Okay, so this is an important point. Okay, now then ova starts maturing after puberty. Okay, so at this point you are right. At the time of birth of each girl child, already contains thousands of immature ova. Okay, so that means from the birth only. Although it is not active, not functional, not differentiated, not fully matured, but it is present. Okay, and that becomes in fully functional conditions when the puberty starts, when you start differentiating. Okay, so only one ovum. Okay, sorry. These ova start maturing, only from the time of puberty. Okay. Only one ovum is produced every month, and it is released in alternate months. Okay, in alternate months. So what happens when the period starts or the menstruation cycle starts? Okay, in one month or in the cycle of 1 month or 28 days, one egg or one ovum is released. Okay, so that is the let's call the ovulation. Okay, and release of ovum, the release of an ovum, from the ovary, into the abdominal cavity, abdominal cavity is known as ovulation. So what is ovulation? It is just a release of ovulation. It is just the release of the egg cell or ovum. Okay. Now we come to the functions. So you understood there are different parts like a pair of ovaries, a pair of fallopian tubes is also called oviduct, uterus where the implantation of the embryo takes place and the fetus develops, also called womb, and the vagina where which also acts as a birth canal, and also the structure where penis is inserted to release the semen. Okay. Now the functions of ovary. The first important for to produce and release ovum or ova. Okay. Number 1, to produce and release ovum. Okay. Like we have seen in case of the testis, there are also 2 functions here: to produce female reproductive hormone, female reproductive hormone, hormones, that is progesterone and estrogen. Okay, that is estrogen and progesterone. We observe in case of male reproductive system, the testis is playing important or is responsible for producing the sperm or spermatozoa, and along with that, the second important function was to produce the male sex hormone, that is the testosterone. But here, in case of the females, like in case testis, here also it got 2 functions. First one, to produce the ova, the female gamete, like sperm is produced in case of the testis. Okay, male gamete. Here it is ovum is produced. Okay, and the second one is to produce female reproductive hormone, that is the estrogen and progesterone. Okay, so now there are fallopian tube that we will study. Okay, so there are fallopian tube. Okay, as we have seen in the diagram. Okay, and which is connecting to the uterus. Okay, this end of the fallopian tube, which is close to the ovary, There has come some funnel-like structure. There is some funnel-like structure that is called fimbri, is it? So you can write here. The important point is this: the end of the end of the fallopian tube near adjacent to ovary has finger-like structure. Okay, or finger-like structure. Finger-like or funnel-like. Funnel-like structure called fimbri. Okay. So here we will see that this fallopian tube has some important role to play, and because this is connecting to the once the egg is released, this is connecting to the womb, or you can say the uterus. Okay. So what is the function? Now, actual function of fallopian tube, we will also write that point also. This is also important for the exam. Function of fallopian tube. Function of ovary, you have already seen the 2 points. Now function of fallopian tube. Okay. It is the site of fertilization, because when the ovum is released from the ovary, then it is moving, okay, towards the fallopian tube. Okay. So it is the site of fertilization. Okay. And then and the formation of gamete and formation of gamete. Okay. So this is about the function of the fallopian tube. Okay. Now we come to the function of uterus. And uterus we've already seen in the diagram. Okay. Function of uterus. The embryo formed in the fertilization is implanted here. Okay. Embryo formed in fallopian tube. Gets implanted or attached. Okay, implanted or attached on the uterine wall. Okay, on the uterus, on the uterine wall. Okay, so that means then the development of fetus takes place when there is a special structure, formation of a special structure is there. That is the placenta that is connecting the mother and the developing fetus. Okay, so this is a function, and it is a site where the uterus is the place where the development of fetus takes place. Okay, it is that's why it's called womb. Okay, so it's also called. Now the vagina. Okay. Uterus open into vagina through cervix. Uterus opens into vagina through cervix. Through cervix. Okay. Now I'll show you the diagram picture again. Okay. Yeah. See, this is the place as I told you at that time, isn't it? I told you here. This is the womb or uterine wall where the embryo is. This is the black one, I assume. And this is opening. This is opening to the vagina through cervix. So this is the cervix. Cervix, right? So that was the okay. Okay, so that means uterus open into vagina through cervix. Now, actually, vagina is the muscular tube. Vagina is muscular tube through which the baby the baby is delivered. Okay, so that's why it's called. That is the reason it is called the birth canal also. Okay, at the end of pregnancy, at the end of 9 months of pregnancy. 9 months of pregnancy. Okay, so this is the about the vagina. Okay, now another important point is there that semen is discharged. Semen is discharged into the vaginal tract. Discharged into the vaginal tract, into the vagina, okay, or vaginal tract. Vaginal tract. During copulation means sexual intercourse during copulation. The sperm, then the sperm travels through the cervix, and then it goes to the uterus, and then to the fallopian tube, and ultimately it meets the ovum for fertilization. Okay, so that is how the so semen then up it travels. So what happens? So when semen is discharged into the vagina, so it will move to the from vagina. The semen it moves to the cervix. Okay, it travels upward. Okay, then it goes to the uterus. Then it goes to the fallopian tube. Okay, fallopian tube. Then it meets the ovum or egg cell. Then the fertilization takes place. Fertilization takes place. Okay, then there is the formation of zygote. Okay, then there is formation of embryo. Then the embryo goes to the uterus. Okay, and then there is the development of fetus. Okay, so this is how it takes place. I mean the sperm travels and then okay. So sperm has capability to swing, capability to move. Okay, it's motile, and there is some kind of structure and molecules that helps in the motility of the sperm cell, spermatozoa. Don't get confused that sperm is only single, very small, microscopic gamete cell, male sex cells. Okay, the semen is a white sticky fluid that comes out of the penis that contains millions of sperm cells. Okay, so semen is different thing. When I was teaching some students, I found that some students we are getting confused. Semen contains other material also, other substances such as the nutrients and other secretions from the prostate gland and the bulbourethral gland and the seminal vesicles, okay, and that nourish and provide the maturation and some other important they maintaining their maturation and their ability to become motile, okay. So this is the difference between the, okay, now with the sperm and the semen. Now so zygote develops after fertilization, and then embryo, and there is a very rapid cell division, and then it moves to the uterus for implantation. So what happens here? This is a process is called the process. This is the uterus and fetus. Here is the process called implantation or attachment. Implantation. Okay, and this is the okay. Now once this implantation is done, fetus is developing, so it go for gestation period of 9 months or pregnancy period of 9 months, and then when the baby or fetus is fully developed, then it is a kind of reflex is generated by the slight movement of the fetus, and there is a release of some hormone from the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland, and that causes the muscles contraction and relaxation, and ultimately the body is delivered. Okay, baby is delivered. Okay, so so there is a rhythmic contraction of the uterine muscle. There is, after the fetus is fully formed, there is rhythmic contraction of uterine muscles, okay, to push out the fetus from vagina or birth canal. Okay, so this is how. Now, apart from this, the another important point that should be noted to that is the structure is the placenta. Placenta is a kind of structure that forms between the fetus and the mother. This is a structure where exchange of different nutrients takes place, and the exchange of gases takes place, and the exchange of the nutrients and the metabolic waste takes place. Okay, because the oxygen needed for the respiration by the fetus is delivered through this placenta. This is connected. This acts as a bridge between mother and the fetus, and the metabolic waste that is produced. Okay, that is also delivered through, into the blood of the mother through this placenta. Okay, this placenta is connected to the baby through a special structure called umbilical cord, and there are so many richly supplied with blood vessels. Okay, and these blood vessels carry the important substances such as nutrients and gases for the respiration like oxygen. Okay, and the carbon dioxide produced after respiration by fetus is again in the turn back to the umbilical cord and the placenta, and then it goes into the blood of the mother through this placenta. Okay, the oxygen which has been carried to the placenta from the mother. Okay, that is oxygen-rich blood. That oxygen is also delivered to the placenta and ultimately to the fetus for respiration. So this structure plays a very important role in exchange of substances for the proper growth and development. Okay. Also, there are some important nutrients, and there is a high, increase in the blood sugar level of the mother, so that when the blood goes to the placenta, the high quantity of glucose will be delivered to the fetus for their proper growth and development. Okay, and so that is the reason. So there is increase in the blood glucose level. Okay. Now, so this placenta Okay, structure between okay structure between fetus or developing fetus. Okay, developing fetus, developing fetus and mother. Also, there is a kind of, there are so many immunoglobulins. When you go to the higher classes, you will study about the antibodies and immunoglobulins. Okay, these are immunoglobulins. Antibodies are the substances, the chemical substances produced by the some white blood cells to act against the some pathogens of foreign bodies. Okay, that is a body defense mechanism, immunity, to provide immunity to the. So since the baby is developing, the fetus is developing, and there is no natural immune system developed at the moment, so this will be supplied. The immunoglobulin that has been developed and that is there in the blood of the mother, that is also transferred through this placenta. Okay, and even when the child birth takes place, okay, and right after the child birth, when the mother starts lactating and starts feeding to the child, that time also the milk that is contained in the mammary gland in the breast, that also contains one kind of immunoglobulin that goes into the body of the child to provide immunity, because immunity is not developed at the moment when the child the birth takes place. Okay, when slowly when the child is exposed to different infections. Okay, so to prevent the initial infections when it is exposed to the outside world from the womb, to provide the immunoglobulin that is present in the milk of the mother, that gives and that provides the immunity to the child, and slowly then the child starts developing her own immunity as the days pass by and the years pass by, and slowly the immune system will become stronger and stronger as the child grows older and older. Okay. Now this is the structure between fetus and the mother, and the exchange of substances takes place. Exchange of substances means we are talking about the nutrients and respiratory gases. Nutrients, okay, respiratory gases, or oxygen we can say, respiratory gases. Okay, so here it is O2 and metabolic waste. Metabolic waste means we are talking about the carbon dioxide and the nitrogenous waste and nitrogenous waste. Like we have got formation of urine, okay, the system for formation of urine in kidney, okay. So that developing fetus is also producing nitrogenous waste. So there is no mechanism of the filling of urinary bladder and then the passing of the urine through the urethra in the womb of the or in the abdomen of the mother. But that needs to be transferred into the blood of the mother through the placenta, and then the mother's blood will carry it to the kidney and then into the urinary bladder. Okay, so that is the mechanism. Okay, so nitrogenous waste. Okay, so this structure plays an important role. So this is richly supplied with the blood vessels, and because the blood is the transporting medium, so carrying these substances. So there is a rich supply of blood vessels in the placenta and the umbilical cord. Okay. Now the important somewhere a little bit of question may be asked is that the menstruation or menstrual cycle. Menstruation. Okay, so this is a cyclic thing. It is a cycle that repeats every month. Okay, menstrual cycle. Okay, it is the actual loss of blood, mucus, along with unfertilized ovum. So when ovum is released. So what happens? For example, if one girl or one female has the flow, menstrual flow has stopped on 1st of June, okay, okay, and the next will come again on 29th of June, okay. So during between these days, the midday, the 14th will be the day where the high chance of pregnancy, because ovulation takes place in the during the mid period, okay. So fully matured ovum is released in the mid of the between the two menstrual flow, okay. So this cycle will repeat. When this ovulation, release of ovum or egg cell takes place, okay, and then there is the sperm, there is a copulation and the release of the semen, and the sperm goes and fertilizes the egg, okay. Then there is formation of zygote and the implantation and the development of fetus. If it does not receive any sperm, then this will deteriorate, okay. Then this will come out along with the menstrual flow. So it is the law of menstruation. It is the loss of blood uterine wall is endometrium is also tissues are also breaking, okay. Mucus along with unfertilized ovum, okay, and ruptured cells and the tissues of, and this is also important, ruptured tissues, cells of endometrium, okay. Endometrium is a layer in metrium of uterus, okay, endometrium, okay. Through the vagina of the female, okay. So this is actually loss of blood along with mucus, unfertilized ovum, and ruptured tissue cells of the endometrium. So this is and this keeps on continuing at every 28 days or 1 month roughly, okay. And this flow of the loss of blood and mucus, it takes place, it goes for about 5 days in average, in some cases for 2 and some 8 days also, okay. It depends on the age also. And in the younger age, the flow is very high and more, okay. And as the female or the girl, okay, when that grow older, okay, the flow becomes for shorter period, and also the flow is little less, okay. And slowly there is the the stoppage of the menstrual cycle, indicating that that female is no more capable of producing the child, okay. So this is about the menstrual cycle and how this is repeating, and this is the now. What did we study today in the female reproductive system is the parts of the female reproductive system, okay. A pair of ovaries, a pair of fallopian tube or oviduct, uterus or womb, and the vagina or birth canal. And I told you the structure, I showed you the picture diagram and told you the structure of the functions of each of these structures and how they play important role in female reproductive system, how they contribute to the reproduction and the formation of the offspring, okay, or the child, okay. Now in case of this ovary, they are responsible for producing the ovum or ova, and also the important hormone, female sex hormone, that is the estrogen and progesterone, okay. Like we have studied in case of the male reproductive system, testis is producing sperm or spermatozoa, or also producing the male sex hormone called testosterone, okay. So likewise here also it has got two important functions, okay. Now vagina is the external opening through and actually the uterus opens through vagina, open into vagina through cervix, okay. Cervix is right above the right after the vagina, and vagina is a muscular tube through which baby is delivered, okay, and semen is also discharged in the vaginal tract. Now I told you how the sperm travels and how it goes. After release into the vagina, the sperm travels to the cervix and to the uterus, and then to the fallopian tube or oviduct, and then it finds the ovum. It finds there is a fertilization. Okay, it has to dissolve the wall of the ovum and then get entry into the ovum, and then there is a formation of zygote, and the embryo develops after rapid cell division, and then it moves to the uterus for implantation, development embryo texture, and embryo gets implanted attached to the uterine wall, and then it develops into the fetus. Okay, and then after this, when there is fully formed fetus is there in the womb, and the fetus is fully developed, and pregnancy is complete, okay, and is ready to be delivered. Then there is a kind of reflex action. There is a reflex, and the movement of the fetus that initiates the rhythmic contraction of the uterine muscles to push out the fetus or baby from the vagina or birth canal. Okay, and there is the placenta. I told you it's a special structure that's connecting fetus to the mother for supplying of different substances like oxygen, carbon dioxide, and to remove or take away the metabolic waste, and to supply or to transport the nutrients for the developing fetus. Okay, menstrual cycle is the loss of blood, mucus, along with the unfertilized ovum or egg cell, along with the ruptured tissues and cells of the endometrium wall of the uterus through the vagina. Okay, and it continues every month. And so this was all about the female reproductive system. Now today, after this class, again, like I have already told you previously many times, now I am repeating it again, that after the class I will send you the some question DPP, okay, like we are sending every day after the class. So when you go to the academic booster, okay, you click on these resources. When you click on the resources, okay, here, then you can see there is a link called writing material, and when you click on the writing material, then you will get one DPP. Okay, so DPP based on according to the topic taught, okay, on that day. So you download the DPP and go through those questions and answer those questions and send back to us for evaluation, and then we will send you the remarks. Okay, so this much for today. Thank you for joining and listening today, and tomorrow again we will meet at the same time. Till then, goodbye.